something more tangible than just hanging out with other people, because that's not going to last. It works great for the first couple of meetings, but it starts, you know what, I've got that lunch and I really need to take care of. I can go hang out with these people and chit chat, small talk, or I can go take care of that banquet I need to take care of. And so if there's no backbone to it, there's no purpose to it, it's going to fade away for them. Write your outline for your meeting. I'm annual. I always have an outline down to the 15-minute segments of how the meeting's going to run, and about half the time we don't follow it. Things happen. Sometimes things happen. I had one meeting outlined, how it's going to do it, and about 2 people showed up to the meeting, and they were struggling with getting volunteers to help them out. So I scrapped the schedule. We all sat around and tried to figure out how we're going to get volunteers that day and what we could do and things like that. While you're at the meeting, set a date for next meeting. Hey, let's meet again in the fall. Nope. Who wants to host the next meeting? Give me a date, or give me at least a month, and then come back and do it. If you're really good, which I'm not, but I try to be, talk to the people in your organization before the meeting starts. So just like we do at the national level, we already have the date and location set for your next meeting, so you announce it at the next meeting. And then, of course, get emails from everybody that you have. Send out mass emails or handwritten notes or whatever you want to do for those who didn't make it to the meeting because they couldn't but want to, and let them have an opportunity to come the next time. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Yes, ma'am.
At your chapter meeting, would it be a good thing to throw out there, what would y'all like to have at the next meeting?
Definitely. That's a good time. Especially at your first meeting. Find out what they want. Some people just want the social. Some people want a couple hour meetings to hang out and talk and then leave. Some people want the full-on depth. It's even been suggested, proposed, and I have a full-time job, but wouldn't it be neat if we had a mini conference in our states? Maybe around January or something, opposite the national conference. And that would be an awesome idea. You want to plan it? But I mean, you can get that far. As our state chapters build, more and more people are going to rise to the top and say, you know what, I can do this. I can commit to help you with this. You can get a couple, 3 people that, maybe do a mini trade show. Maybe do get some big keynote speakers. And I have no problem in the state of Florida doing a Florida conference. Yes?
How about at the state evangelism conferences and stuff? Do we have could we get table with,
Well,
information?
in July, it's in Orlando this year. We've been doing it for several years now. We have a membership with the National Association of Church Business Administrators, your bosses. And so we've had a booth there for the last 5 or 6 years, I think. We go every year. And that's where we're talking to their boss and say, hey, you have a food service ministry? Are they, in any associations? Are they attending any conferences? Are they doing any continuing education? Things like that. And so that's a very large group that we've been trying to. And of course, you're not talking directly to the person who's going to go, but we've had several instances where the business administrator said, this is an awesome idea. They go back to their church after the conference and say, hey, guess what? You're going to Orlando in June. And that's like, I am? For what? So that's how we're marketing out to it. Again, it goes back to tell everybody you know. Tell everybody you know. You may talk to a pastor at another church who says, oh, that's awesome. Hey, I'm going to a conference, in 2 months. I'll talk about it. You got any literature or any information, things like that. So, we are open for ideas. There are no restrictions on who you can talk to about this association. Talk to everybody you know. Okay? But it's a great idea. Go down to different ones.
Michael, when I'm thinking of the local area here, I'm thinking in like a 30 or 45 minute driving range. I know probably a lot of large churches in the Nashville market.
Right.
Have y'all ever done it to where, if these other people are struggling and you're off that night or something, going and volunteering and helping them with their big gig because they maybe not pull it off? Or
We have done that once or twice in Florida, especially if you're right there in your own hometown. I was, a few years ago, the Florida Baptist Convention. It's like the nationwide one, but each state apparently has their own convention. It was over in the Tampa area, and somebody said, hey, let's have a barbecue for everybody for 500, and poor food service guy's like, And so we had relationships with them. So 2 or 3 of us from different churches all converged on that church, and we took care of it with them. We helped them. I was talking to another one down the road from us, You know, he's got some big events every, once or twice a year, he does a really big event, and he just doesn't have the staff for it. I'm like, hey, give me a call. If you need some staff, if you need some volunteers or something, we're there to help you out. Okay? So that's a great idea. Just, and even an hour and a half away, or 2 hours, whatever you're willing to drive, make yourself open for it. Because
Really
it's going to make a huge
solidify.
impact. You know what? You're in the trenches with them. What a great way to get to know somebody and to bond with them than to actually sit there and do something. I know guys, women can sit around at a table and talk for hours with each other. Guys can sit around a table and stare at each other. You open up the hood of a car, and all of a sudden they just start talking. You got to give them something to do. It's just another way to connect. So if you got them coming over and say, hey, we got a big event, I could use some help, that's a great way for particularly guys to get together. Because they need something to do. They can't just talk to each other.
Cool.
You know, it's amazing the conversation just there, because I have these two huge cookers, and I keep saying, I have to make sure I stay focused, and so I don't get a desire, urge to go out and do my own thing again. I want everything that I do to be connected to Scripture. I mean, related to ministry, and it's been working. I've been doing stuff at the church, even though I have a catering business. But that idea that you just mentioned there, churches within my area, I know they have big blasts. And so to try to figure out how to share with them if they have any type of big function or something,
Yeah.
I can come alongside and be available. I mean, that is like awesome.
I mean, how many of you have a large event and you're
How do you
trying to find volunteers?
Yeah.
From your own church. Why not try to find volunteers from other churches?
Yeah.
And you know what? These volunteers know what they're doing.
What we've done is we have the mobile kitchen for Mercy Chefs, and we have one park in Virginia. And so we partner with Gary's church, who has big events, and we do like maybe 2 or 3 events a year. Like they have a Holy Ghost wiener roast, right? So we go out and make
Holy
chili.
Ghost
wiener
Yeah.
roast.
Okay. And I did not give the name, but they do hot dogs and chips and drinks, and we do chili, and they serve about 1,200 people. And so we do anything for them that's outreach based, and we support them in that.
Wow.
We do that a couple times a year, which is really, really fun for us because I'm not in charge. I just go and I make chili happen or whatever it is.
Right.
And they really get to make an impact. It frees them up too, to really be the hands and feet and develop relationships. Whereas if they were trying to spread themselves thin, they wouldn't be as available to develop those relationships. So.
Yeah, I think all churches mindset should be ministry based. And I think pastors would love to know that somebody representing their church is involved. I mean, my wife and I served at Word of Life in Screw Lake. And our pastor's one of the speakers, and we've always not, for the past 3 years, not been able to be there. We're gone by the time he get there. And it happens last year that somebody couldn't show up, and he was there. And he's got so much going on in his brain, he didn't have a clue. Probably don't even know we attend. And he was speaking one morning, and I snuck out of the kitchen, and Ellen and I were in the back of the auditorium. And he was going on with his message. He was going, and he spotted us, and it's like he saw a ghost. He got tongue-tied. He couldn't even function. And he asked me, "That's my chef back there." I mean, he was all jacked up. He didn't even know he did. But I mean, pastors want that. They want us to be representatives of the kingdom, and they like us being people that a part of them, being a part of blessing and helping.
And it helps raise your ministry in his eyes.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Yes, sir.
As far as support from the GSHB to start a new chapter, maybe with some of your policies or guidelines or whatever, do we just direct all the people that are attending to the website? Or, there probably should be a leader type that kind of organizes it, I'm assuming?
Make sure I got your question right.
What
What we can do is, at the national level, which would be Janae and of course whoever wants to help out, we can help you with the calls and invitations and whatnot. We can help you with writing an agenda for the day or pointers and stuff like that. But the more we can get the local people talking to the local people, the better. I don't want somebody from LA calling Orlando, say, hey, okay, I'm gonna do that meeting in LA. Well, I'd just rather have that type of communication between you. But as far as getting set up, especially if you're in an area where there is no other GACHP members, it's scary, it's intimidating, I get that, it's a huge project. We can help you get it started, get it going. But we can't run it for you. And then once you get the people invited and you start your meetings, we can help you, we can encourage you, we can guide you, we can give you agendas and ideas and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's got to be somebody in that area taking over. Now in Florida, I'm the state chapter president. So we haven't formally organized with vice president, secretary, and things like that, so we could. But we do, I'm the point man for everything in Florida, so people have questions, they can come to me with it. And of course, I'm national chairman as well, so same thing. I'd like for somebody else to, maybe perhaps take over national chairman, but I'm fine doing it. So I can help you with that, and but we need somebody at the local level just being the point man for that area.
Yeah. Do you charge any kind of membership fee for the local chapter?
What we do sometimes, well, when we were doing all the state of Florida, we asked that everybody get $20 to help defray the costs. For some people that was hard, and some people it was no problem. I never stood at the door and asked for $20, just to bask it out. And then we would ask the churches, hey, how much of this money do you need to cover the cost of your lunch? Sometimes they say, no, it's our gift, and otherwise. So I just send the money up to the national office, whatever we have left over from there, and they can always use it. It's not a money-making event. We don't want people to not come because they can't afford it, but we also don't want to be a burden on the host churches. So if you need help covering the cost of the facilities or the cost of the lunch or whatever, feel free and ask for a donation. Some people said $20 is too much. Sometimes, charging a $20 fee kind of gives it credence as well. So, oh, hey, this is a real organization, type thing. Here's $20. Some of the food isn't going to cost you $20, but just something to it. So we don't have rules and regulations, and you must do this, you can't do that type things. We're not that organized, and I don't think we need to be that organized because people in Nashville are different than people in Houston, and I don't want to try to dictate how everything needs to be for everybody because every area is different. And if you've got, if your churches are small and you need money to help, if you want to provide a lunch and you need to collect some money for it, there's nothing wrong with that. If you can say, hey, we got it, we don't need the money, then that's fine as well.
All right.
I think we got about
Yeah,
5 more minutes, guys.
Another quick question. Once we contact these people and go out, do you have any kind of materials that are professional looking that we can include?
We do get with Janae on that. I don't think I have any with me. We have a card. It's about this big. It's printed on a nice stock card. Yeah, it's blue. It kind of gives a little idea of who we are, what we do, why we do it, type stuff. Gives a web page on there and contact information. And by all means, when you're passing them out to somebody, write your own contact information on there so they can get with you. But definitely, that when you go into when you cold call a place, and the better prepared, the more professional you look, the more receptive it's going to be. So get with Janae. We can get a bunch of those. Or if you want to, we can probably send you PDFs and you can print them out on your own. Cool.
But Janae's the lady that you get in contact with?
Yeah. And I think her email is right there on the web page. She is the GACHP. Mark is the executive director, Paul's the president, we got all the board members, but Janae is the one who does all the work. And somehow, I don't know how she does it, she knows all of y'all. She comes up and says, oh yeah, you remember John from... But she does, and she knows the people that aren't on conference. She knows the people who've been contacted and never shown up for anything.
Is she really special?
She's
really special.
She is.
Like that. I walk in and I hadn't seen her since last year, and she's like, Greg Bradshaw. I'm like, how did you know me?
She just knows that. She's passionate about that.
There's a lot of us still looking fat guys, so
you
might be confused about it.
But she is the backbone of this ministry. So if you guys get a chance, give her a thank you. I'm trying to abuse her too much, but by all means, if you got questions or comments, ask her. And if she doesn't know the answer, she certainly knows somebody who does. Okay, but she's a great resource. She does a great job for GACHP. I know every once in a while, it's like, Mark is his wife, and you know what? She's the perfect person for the job. And it's nice that she's in Orlando because that's where the executive director is. And so a lot of stuff, instead of having to set up conference calls and all that, they're just right there. So we can get a lot done that way instead of having to try to schedule meetings and everything.
Yeah, she spent a lot of time on this. Imagine if she got back in a week from now, she had a handwritten note from all of the attendees sharing just thank you for all you do. That
I think
would
that'd be
probably
awesome.
really touch her, you know.
Tell everybody you know that. That's a great idea. She would love that. Anybody would love that. I would love that, you know?
Yeah.
So I know she would.
Kind of have a wall of fame when we get praised for our catered events, and I love it when they mention my staff and I highlight them and I'm like, boom, here, and read them aloud in our staff
Yeah.
meetings.
And we actually hang ours up. Some of ours we hang up. We print
Oh,
out the
yeah.
emails or the letters that we get and we hang them up, and we have a big back hallway behind our stage that we just have them nailed to the wall. So anybody who comes down here can read them. We got pictures of all of our staff and volunteers going back from day one, 20 years ago. Just big collage pictures and everything, so people can go by. It's so funny. So that's you? Like a kid. I go, well, yeah, 18 years ago I was a kid. But it's just, you know, the history of your ministry.
Wow.
You know, and the praises. You know, obviously you don't want to put the complaints up there. Don't post those. So.
Chef, you
Okay.
could do,
Anybody else? Anything? Or any? You know, now we finished our, you know, state chapter stuff. I hope you all got your handouts and everything. Anyone have any general questions about anything that they want to discuss? You know, I want to give you all opportunities to do that as well. I'm only standing up here. Doesn't mean I know the answer or anything. But is there anything burning on your hearts that I've always wanted to ask somebody?
I just think it's gonna be vital to just hit the ground running when we get home, because I went through this last year, and I had such an eagerness and a desire
Yep.
to pull it off, and it didn't happen, because in ministry, we all know, you know, it's like we don't need to be busy, that busy, but as we're thinking about it here, somehow we're knowing that we can fit it into how busy we are when we get back home.
Yeah.
And so you have to go back and do it, because you confess that it's just not gonna happen here if you couldn't.
And
I've got
that's-
6 weeks when I go back home where I'm only doing one job,
Right.
2 jobs, and so it's like, in these 6 weeks, we've gotta do this.
Yes.
Yeah. But you know, that's why you get the 3 takeaway points. Because I
Right.
could write down 20 things and go, oh, I can't do that. There's only 3.
Yeah.
Start with those 3. No, on the backside of it, put your other 17 points down, or whatever
Right.
it is. You know, start working on those after you get the first 3. But yeah, keep it going, guys. Keep it alive. And I'm thinking the chapters are the best way to keep it going. Keep it involved. Okay?
All right.
I'll meet y'all down. Gary Rose is our keynote speaker next. He does a phenomenal job. I don't know what he's talking about this time, but anything he says is just really worth hearing.
It's all, that's why it's 11, right?
Yeah, he starts at 11.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, brother. Good job.
Good.